The signal vanished first, then the power, and slowly so did their patience. Morning arrived early in the village, a rooster's insistent crowing slicing through the quiet air. For the city family, accustomed to the gentle hum of an alarm clock, it was a harsh awakening. Sunlight, unfiltered by curtains, slipped through the gaps in the old wooden window frames, painting stripes across the floor. The children, a boy and a girl, tossed and turned in their makeshift beds, restless from the unfamiliar heat already building in the small room. The father sat up, a reflexive motion, and reached for his phone on the bedside table. His thumb swiped across the dark screen. No notifications, no urgent emails, no meeting reminders. He tapped the top corner of the screen. No network, not a single bar. A deep frown creased his forehead. He felt a strange sense of disconnection, a void where the constant stream of city life used to be. The silence wasn't peaceful, it was unnerving. Soon the complaints began to surface, quiet at first, then growing in volume as the reality of their situation settled in. Is there no fan in this room? The daughter whined, pulling at her sticky t-shirt. Why is it so incredibly hot already? The son, a teenager glued to his digital world, chimed in. Can't the electricity come on faster? My phone's at 20%. The questions, laced with impatience, floated in the humid air of the main room. The grandparents, who had been sitting quietly at the small wooden table, exchanged a knowing, almost imperceptible glance. This was their everyday life. The power outages, the summer heat, the unreliable network, it was all just part of the village rhythm. But for their guests, their own children and grandchildren, it felt like a personal crisis, an unbearable hardship. The son, driven by a desperate need for a connection, stood near the front doorway, his phone held high above his head like a modern-day offering to the digital gods. For a fleeting second, a single bar appeared, then vanished. Frustrated, he stepped outside onto the dusty porch, climbed precariously onto a rickety wooden stool, and stretched his arm as far as it would go, contorting his body in search of a signal. Nothing. Defeated, he jumped down. This place is so boring, he muttered under his breath, kicking a loose stone. The words, not intended for anyone, were carried by the breeze and landed softly at the feet of his grandfather, who was tending to his small vegetable patch nearby. The old man didn't turn around, but his shoulders slumped just a little. Meanwhile, inside the small dark kitchen, the grandmother had been awake long before the roosters. She had risen in the pre-dawn quiet, her movements practiced and silent. She lit the old wood-burning stove, the flames casting a warm, flickering glow on her face. Beads of sweat formed on her forehead as she fanned the fire, the heat intensifying in the enclosed space. She was carefully preparing a special breakfast, hot, savory pancakes, and freshly brewed tea, hoping a good hearty meal would soothe the frayed nerves and make everyone feel a little better, a little more at home. But as the family gathered, grumbling about the heat and the lack of entertainment, no one seemed to notice the extra effort or the love poured into the food on their plates. By the afternoon, the oppressive heat grew heavier, pressing down on the house like a physical weight. The air was thick and still. The father, sitting stiffly in a wooden chair, loosened his collar for the 10th time. His face was slick with sweat, his shirt sticking uncomfortably to his back. The accumulated frustrations of the day, the digital silence, the children's whining, the suffocating heat finally boiled over. This would never happen in the city, he said, his voice sharp and loud in the quiet room. A sudden heavy silence fell over the room. His words hung in the air, cold and sharp despite the heat. The grandfather, who had been quietly mending a fishing net, stopped his work and turned his head to look out the window, his gaze distant. The grandmother, clearing the lunch plates, lowered her eyes to the floor, her hands slightly trembling as she stacked the dishes. The room, which had once felt cozy, now felt small and suffocating, charged with unspoken resentment. The mother had been watching it all unfold, the constant complaints, the quiet, wounded expressions on her in-laws' faces, the immense effort that went completely unacknowledged. She saw the love in the grandmother's carefully prepared meals and the pride in the grandfather's meticulously kept garden. Her gaze fell on her mother-in-law's trembling hands and a tight, painful knot formed in her chest. She saw not just a lack of comfort, but a chasm of understanding widening between two generations, two worlds. As evening approached, the sky turned a brilliant orange and purple, but the electricity still hadn't returned. The family gathered in the main room, lit by the soft, flickering flame of a single oil lamp. Shadows danced and stretched on the walls, creating a world of unfamiliar shapes. The children, deprived of their tablets and phones, sat unusually still, their faces illuminated by the warm, gentle light. For the first time as long as anyone could remember, no blue screens glowed in their hands. There was just the lamplight, the sound of crickets outside, and the heavy silence of a family together, yet worlds apart. That night, modern comfort was completely absent, but in its place, something else had appeared, a raw, uncomfortable awareness that questioned them all. And this was only day one. What happens next might change them forever. Don't forget to like and subscribe to see how this story unfolds.